Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Sergey Nazarov, co-founder of Chainlink. Sergey, it's great to see you. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Great. Thank you for having me, Jill.
And for our viewers who are not aware, could you please give an introduction to what DeFi is and the role Chainlink has in the DeFi ecosystem?
Sure. DeFi is a superior version of the global financial system in both the financial services and the financial products categories. It's superior because whereas centralized finance gives you sub 1% returns, creates very little to no transparency about the risk taken with your assets by institutions that hold it, and give you very little control as proven by cases like Robinhood, where the rules can suddenly change, DeFi is an alternative to that. And it's a superior alternative just because of the fact that you can get over 7% on most assets in the DeFi ecosystem. You have complete transparency as to what's going on with those assets and the risks being taken with those assets, rather than hoping that a nice logo somewhere has your best interests in mind. And you have complete and total control over those assets such that they can never be frozen, never be kept from you. And the activities that you were promised you could do with them are something you can always do as guaranteed by cryptography and mathematics. So DeFi is really the superior alternative to centralized finance, not because it sounds great, but because it has all these unique and previously impossible benefits. Also, DeFi is just early. It's just in its infancy. So the amount of capabilities it still has to add is very large, whereas the amount of capabilities that CeFi can add, it's been CeFi for a very long time, and the incremental improvement is small, whereas the incremental improvement in DeFi is still, I think, orders of magnitude. What Chainlink does in the DeFi ecosystem is it provides the infrastructure that powers anywhere from 60 to 80% of DeFi, depending on the day. And it has continually provided the data, computation, and various key decentralized infrastructure that has allowed DeFi to grow and allows DeFi to continue to grow by offering various new markets, various new capabilities. So Chainlink can really be viewed as a critical decentralized infrastructure that powers DeFi from its very beginning. In fact, DeFi really started to grow when Chainlink appeared and was able to provide highly reliable data, which is a key component of making any DeFi product.
In 2021, your team announced that several enterprises like Deutsche Telekom, Swisscom, the Associated Press, and AccuWeather had launched Chainlink nodes. Can you explain how and why these companies are participating in the Chainlink network?
Sure. I think fundamentally it's the economics of the Chainlink network, because all of these companies, Swisscom, Deutsche Telekom, Associated Press, AccuWeather, all of them have done very significant analysis on the smart contract economy and the market for either their data or their computational capabilities. And I think that what they got from that analysis was that not only is there an existingly large enough market with sufficiently strong enough economics to have them provide their data to it, but it's a rapidly growing market, growing from, below 1 trillion to well over 2 trillion in a very small time period. So the market size of where they can provide their data and their ability to provide their computation is much larger than it was before. The second reason is the efficiency through which they can provide that through the Chainlink network. So we have an extremely efficient way for them to simply plug in their existing data, plug in their existing infrastructure, and give people the security of their computations, the quality of their data for weather with AccuWeather or news for Associated Press or others. And then what that does is it closes that chicken and egg cycle where if you don't have high quality infrastructure, you can't really build high quality applications. But once the Associated Press, once AccuWeather, once various other data and computational providers provide infrastructure through something like the Chainlink network, then you have an infrastructure that can give rise to decentralized insurance, better and better dynamic NFTs, more and more advanced DeFi. And so that's really the cycle that Chainlink closes and accelerates, which is what we feel is our contribution to the smart contract economy.
I've heard that there are plans to enable cross-chain smart contracts using CCIP. Can you explain to us what that means?
Sure. So CCIP seeks to do what TCP/IP did for the internet. So in the early stages of the internet, there were actually a lot of disparate, smaller internets that didn't communicate with each other. And therefore, the data and all the capabilities and all those different internets were kind of separately trapped. CCIP seeks to solve that problem for blockchains, because in blockchain land, you actually have a very similar problem. There are many different chains with different data, many different capabilities, many different smart contracts, and they're not currently communicating. They're not currently being combined into more and more advanced smart contracts. CCIP is a messaging and communication standard for different blockchains to interact with each other and for all the smart contracts and data on those different chains to be combined into more advanced applications, which we call cross-chain smart contracts. So CCIP is really going to create a step function increase in what people can build in our ecosystem by using all the capabilities of the different blockchains and all the various ecosystems to build a single very advanced application, just like before they needed oracles and data to build DeFi, right? So just like that created a step function increase in what people could build, CCIP seeks to create that step function increase through connectivity.
And finally, Sergey, what do you see ahead for Chainlink and blockchain in 2022?
I think we're going to continue to see very substantial growth in adoption of smart contracts in various verticals, whether that's DeFi, dynamic NFTs, decentralized insurance, I think has a very bright future. All of these sectors are going to continue to grow because the value flowing into them isn't slowing down, it's only speeding up. And Chainlink's role is going to be to provide hundreds and thousands of these decentralized Oracle networks, decentralized services to these various verticals, whether they're dynamic NFTs, decentralized insurance, or DeFi. We see the growth of the market actually feeding into a very serious virtuous cycle where even more data providers like the Associated Press and AccuWeather, and even more high quality node operators like Swisscom or Deutsche Telekom, and even more high quality kind of teams come into the industry. So I think really we're at an inflection point that's kicked off this year and is going to really continue next year, where more and more great applications are built, which enables people to have a very good reason to build greater and greater quality infrastructure, which is what Chainlink is focused on. So Chainlink's goal is going to be to serve all of the needs of these more and more advanced applications and to enable them to be successful so that the market, the smart contract economy market grows and that virtuous cycle continues. But I think that virtuous cycle is already way ahead of what people assumed it was going to be, and it's only accelerating.
All right, Sergey, we appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you for having me.